A redneck boy runs into his house and proclaims, "I found the girl that I'm gonna marry, and she's a virgin." Incensed, his father pounds his fist on the table. "There's no way you'll marry that girl. If she ain't good enough for her own family, she ain't good enough for ours." On the wedding night, the newlywed were in bed having sex. After a while, the husband confessed, "I had sex with so many call girls so many times before." The wife says, "That's what I have been thinking since we met, that I have seen you somewhere before." An 87-year-old man chats with his doctor. "So, I'm getting married again next week, doc." "Oh, that's wonderful. And how old is the bride?" "She's 19. "That's fantastic, but I have to warn you, too much action in the bed can be deadly." The old man said, "Ah, well, if she dies, I'll just have to remarry." A Texan enters a bar full of Mexicans. He's wearing a t-shirt with bright lettering, "Mexicans have 3 problems." Just a few moments later, the Mexicans surround him and say, "Hey, you know what you're wearing is insulting?" The Texan responds, "This is your first problem. You're so easily offended." The Mexican's visibly bristles. "Okay, maybe we should settle this outside." The Texan says, "That's your second problem. You always want to solve problems with violence." The Mexicans drag the man outside and pull their knives. The Texan adds, "And here's your third problem. You always bring knives to gunfights." A secret agent is sent to Ireland to deliver a top-secret package. Go to this small town in Ireland, find our agent named O'Malley, and say the following to him: "The shadows of the moon are getting dark." He'll reply, "But the sun will guarantee the light." When he says that, give him the package and head home. So the agent goes to the small Irish town but only sees a handful of shops and a farm. He walks up to the farmer and says, "I'm looking for a man named O'Malley." The farmer replies, "You need to be more specific than that. The bank manager is named O'Malley, the butcher is O'Malley, the undertaker is O'Malley, and for that matter, I'm O'Malley too." Hearing that, he says to the farmer in a hushed voice, "The shadows of the moon are getting dark." The farmer replies, "Oh, you're looking for O'Malley the spy. He lives in the next community west." A woman didn't come home one night. The next morning, she told her husband that she had slept over at a friend's house. The man called his wife's 10 best friends. None of them knew anything about it. A man didn't come home one night. The next morning, he told his wife that he had slept over at a friend's house. The wife called her husband's 10 best friends. 8 of them confirmed that he had slept over, and 2 said he was still there. A pregnant woman went to the gynecologist and when asked what the problem was, she responded, "Well, whenever I take off my clothes, my melons get hard." Shocked, the doctor took a deep breath, then asked, "Your melons get hard?" "Yes," quite innocently came her reply. "Undress so I can check," said the still amazed doc. So she undressed, and he got down to the feeling and massaging, trying to reach an answer. After some considerable time, the doctor, still looking puzzled, said, "Well, madam, I don't know what you have, but it sure as hell is contagious." A rabbi is passing by a Catholic church. He sees the priest and says, "Hello, would you mind if I attend your service? I'd like to see how you get things done. I'd like to see how you conduct your services in the church." The priest said, "Sure, you're welcome. Come in and let me show you around. I'm getting ready to hear confessions now. You can sit in the booth with me and see what we do." They go into the confession booth. The first man comes into the confession booth. He says, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I committed adultery 3 times this week." The priest said, "It's okay, my son. God will forgive you. Put $5 in the plate and say 5 Hail Marys." The next guy comes into the booth. He said, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I have committed adultery 3 times this week." The priest said, "God will forgive you. Put $5 in the plate and say 5 Hail Marys." The phone rings and the priest answers it. When he finishes the call, he said to the rabbi, "Oh my goodness, I have an emergency. I have to go." The rabbi said, "It's okay, Father. I think I have it down on what you do. Go take care of your emergency and I'll handle this." The priest leaves, and the next man comes into the booth. He says, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I have committed adultery twice this week." The rabbi said, "It's okay, my son. Go out and do it one more time. We have a special this week, 3 for $5. A wife asked her husband to drop her off at a friend's house where a wedding reception was taking place. He responded that he would be too busy throughout the day in the office and gave her some money to take a taxi. The wife took a taxi to the wedding reception. There, she met a fine girl, and they got talking to each other. Soon they became friends. In the evening, when everyone was leaving, the girl asked the woman how she was going home. She replied that her husband was too busy in the office to pick her up, so she would use a taxi. The girl responded, "My boyfriend brought me here and will be coming to pick me up. I just spoke to him on the phone, and he's on his way. Why don't you join me in his car, and we will drop you at your house?" The woman agreed. A few minutes later, her husband's car arrived. The girl jumped into the front passenger seat of the car and asked the woman to sit in the back seat, which she did, confused and perturbed. Then the girl introduced her new friend to her boyfriend. When the man turned around to greet the woman, he recognized her as his wife. A wife wanted to teach his husband a lesson about the evils of liquor, so he produced an experiment that involved a glass of water, a glass of whiskey, and 2 worms. "Now, dear, observe the worms," said the wife, putting a worm first into the water. The worm in the water writhed about, happy as a worm in water could be. The second worm she put into the whiskey. It writhed painfully and quickly sank to the bottom, dead as a doornail. "Now, what lesson can we derive from this experiment?" the wife asked. The husband thought and wisely responded, "Drink whiskey and you won't get worms." A preacher was giving a spirited sermon on Sunday. He was preaching about the 10 Commandments. When he got to the 8th commandment, "Thou shalt not steal," he spoke at length on the topic. He kept preaching, "Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not steal." A man got up to leave the church, and as he left, he dropped his wallet full of cash on the floor. The preacher saw the wallet on the floor and slowly moved over towards it. He kept preaching, "Thou shalt not steal, stealing is a sin." The preacher bent over to cover the wallet up, and one of the deacons saw him. The deacon said, "I see you, Reverend." The preacher looked at the deacon and said, "Deacon, I see you looking at me. Just be quiet about what you see. I'm the preacher with nothing to hide, and we'll divide this when we get outside." An old couple is sitting in their rocking chair. The old woman embroiders while the old man reads the paper. The old woman looks at him with remembrance in her eyes and she says, "Honey, you don't ever sit next to me as you used to." He puts the paper down and scoots over close to her. Then she says, "Honey, you don't ever put your arm around me anymore." He again puts the paper down and puts his arm around her. She said, "Honey, you never nibble on my ear anymore." He gets up and walks away. She said, "Honey, where are you going?" He said, "Gotta go get my teeth."